Welcome, everybody, to the A Little Less Fear podcast. I'm your producer and host of the show, Dr. Lino Martinez. This is your motivational podcast of people's incredible journeys. Oh, yeah, let's do this. Welcome back, everybody, to the A Little Less Fear podcast. Today, I would love to welcome Pia Leichter. Is a creative partner, best-selling author, certified coach, and founder. Her path has been anything but ordinary. A recovering nomad, she's reported as a journalist in Sri Lanka, graduated summa cum laude from NYU, and worked as an award-winning creative director for some of the biggest brands in the world. Now, as the founder of Kollektiv Studio, she is uniquely positioned to help people create their wild ventures. Welcome to A Little Less Fear podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Lino. So happy to be here.
Yeah, so awesome to have you. But hey, before we get started, I just wanted to let you know, and also the audience know, people that are watching and listening, that I really want to dedicate this episode to Tom Palladino. He passed away, and he was on my podcast on episode 250. Which was a year ago, and today was gonna be our 1 year anniversary to see where we're at a year later with his invention of scalar energy, which is an invention that he created using his own technology that he had over 40 years in the making, using energy from the cosmos, the sun, the moon, and the stars to heal people's auras. And it was really incredible. So what he did is he got a picture of people. He could simply do it by looking at your picture. And by looking at people's pictures, he was able to see their aura. And the aura that somebody has tells you what type of disease that they have. And by using energy from the cosmos, he was using that energy to heal auras by a picture. It's really incredible. Yeah.
Wow, that sounds absolutely incredible.
It is. It's amazing. And what's even more amazing is I didn't tell him at the time. And what he said to me is like, Lino, I'd like to see you in a year. Give me pictures of your friends and family, and don't tell me their ailments, and we'll see how they're all doing a year from now. And I said, no
Wow.
problem. And he wanted a picture of me, my brother, my dad, and I couldn't get us separate, but there was a picture of me, my brother, and my dad because it had only been a couple months since my brother passed away. And I was like, I questioned, I wondered, I was like, can this type of energy, if it's coming from the cosmos, heal people that are even on the other side? Whatever
Mm.
energy they're healing with. I wondered, and I wanted to ask him this. That would have been my question to him today. But what's interesting is about 3 weeks later, he emailed me and he said, Lino, and I didn't tell him that anyone in the picture has cancer. He said, scalar energy is healing people with cancer. And I was like, wow, I was blown away because I didn't even tell him that. So the energetic aura of must have been my brother, showed that he had cancer, and then his publicist reached out to me telling me he'd passed away. And so I didn't, unfortunately I didn't get to interview him, but I'm sure that if I connect with his energy, maybe I'll get some answers. Other than that, he is now part of the light of the cosmos that he was working with, which is really beautiful. And speaking of that light brought your light into today. So it's just there's no coincidence to alignment. Otherwise, we would have had to wait till late August to interview. So welcome, Pia. So nice to meet you.
So nice to meet you, and so good to be in your energy and your aura.
I know, isn't that incredible? It's really
It
amazing the
is.
way universe connects people. And I'm interested in your life connection. What brought you to where you are at today?
Geographically,
Well, let's talk about your journey right now, because I was on your website on collective.studio, and I was looking at realigning with your intuition, imagining your future. So you're helping people become most creative that they can naturally, the things that they're really good at. And this is what I get from looking at your website and some of your socials. But before most people can get there, they have to find that within themselves, because you're passionate about what you do. And before we can be super duper passionate about it, we find that passion, that light within ourselves. So, what journey did you have to go through to bring you into this current light that you're in?
Ooh. Well, luckily, my father is an abstract painter. So he grew up in New York City on the Lower East Side on the Bowery. He was one of the first artists to start converting lofts. And, I grew up watching him try to make a living from his art, the highs and lows, right? Like
Oh
one
yeah.
man shows to then, dealing blackjack for the mob to get by. And so he had time to paint, doing all different types of jobs just to be able to do what he loved. And the lesson that I absorbed when I was younger, that is doing what you love and living outside society's prescriptive lines, means that you have to pay a rebel tax. It's a tough existence. It's a tough way to be. And so I think it made me scared of, oh, what if I became an author? Or what if I just relied on my creativity to make a living, as well as
Right.
my passion, but for everything. So I didn't do that. I ended up going into commercial creativity. So I worked in advertising and marketing for many years, which satisfied me in many ways. I was a copywriter, I was a creative director, working on different campaigns, solving different problems, getting a lot of briefs. Agencies are fun. It's like you work for a multitude of different clients, each of them with different challenges that they're asking you to creatively solve with the team. And so that felt safe and good, and like a sense of belonging for a minute, for a while, for most of my career, more than a minute, for over a decade. But I think there was something within me where I was like, what would happen if I channeled my creativity into building my own damn thing, my own dream, my own business, my own brand? Like, what might happen? And I had this kind of nagging thought, before you go to
Yeah.
bed, and that like thought keeps poking you on the shoulder. And I think there are a lot of old stories that were keeping me in place, right? Like, and so I needed to,
What were some of these old stories?
well, to make art and make a living, those things are not, they're not aligned, right? And
Mhm.
I realized as I got older that looking through the lens of an adult and not a child, I can see that my father is a gifted artist, but not a fantastic businessman. So it's like, it wasn't that simple of, this is the lesson. It
Right.
so I think it's like the scarcity mindset, having a scarcity mindset, like, what if I don't have enough? What if I don't survive?
Yeah.
What if I
Right.
don't
Right.
make it? That's limiting, right? It's like, if I
Sure.
do what I love, then I'm going to not make enough money, or I'm not going to be
Right.
able to survive because there's a cost to doing what you love. I don't know where these stories came from. Did I develop them? Are they society stories? I think in a way it's like society stories. Like,
It
this is
is.
not
Yeah.
serious. And, what are
But
you
also, I mean,
doing?
it's society stories, but also ancestrally. Like these are the things that are handed to us, and it sticks in our DNA. And so we're kind of like in this glitch, thinking these things when that's not even our truth.
Exactly. And it took me, when my mother suddenly passed away in 2021 during COVID, and it was sudden, and she was living in Mexico at the time, so I flew to Mexico, and sitting with a parent, especially sitting with anyone, but especially a parent, and as they walk home, as they pass, as they die, is not only a heartbreaking experience, needless to say, but it's a really stark reminder that we have one life.
Yes.
Like, that's what it was for me. Like, hey, this thing here, this is a limited series.
Yeah.
This is, you don't know how long you have. Like, we all have hidden expiration dates. Universe has a sense of humor,
Sure
maybe a little
does. Oh
dark
yeah.
one. It's like,
Yeah. Right.
we don't know how long we have. Anything can happen at any point in time. And when I watched my mother lose everything, because you can't take anything with you,
Right.
you lose everything, it really gave me a shot of courage and a reminder that this life is finite, and a kick in the peach. It was like, what am I so afraid of? What am I so afraid of when I'm going to lose it all? I'm going to lose it all. For
Yeah, we're
it's
all
not
gonna
a
lose it all.
We're all going
Yeah.
to lose it all. So what am I afraid of losing while I'm here?
Hmm.
Shouldn't I be afraid of not living
Hmm.
while I'm alive? And however cliched that sound, it felt very profound to me in that
Hmm.
moment. And I was like, fuck yeah. Like,
Yeah. Right.
I'm not, this is not, I'm ready. I'm ready to listen to that voice. I'm ready to see. I was also doing a coaching certification, and I have to say that helped a lot too,
Mhm.
because in coaching, being certified, it's not about personal development, but of course it's a side product of it. So we ask questions that I haven't asked myself since I was a kid. Like, what do you really want?
Yeah.
A lot of us don't stop just to ask, like, what do you really want? You know? And it's like, oh, what do I really want? Think about that.
Yeah, it's just
Like,
so interesting because a lot of, I mean, you once you ask yourself that question, it's like, well, what do I want in all areas of my life?
yeah,
Isn't it? Because a lot too many people are just so interested in what they don't want, and when you're focused on what you don't want, that's what the universe brings you, things that you don't
yeah,
want. So you got to
yeah,
change that channel.
exactly. And then the other one I love too is like, what do I need?
Mm-hmm.
What do I really need?
What do you
So
really
just
need?
starting the exploration and creating space
Yeah.
to slow down and to be able just
Yeah.
to sit with my emotions and be with myself. And also that huge shakeup of then having my mother pass. I was like, I want to see what would happen if I built my own thing. I don't know what it will be exactly. Is it coaching? Is it creativity? But not the way I used to apply it, something else. What I don't know what it is yet, but I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to jump. So I quit my job. I had a cushion. Okay. I was lucky. I didn't have, I had something to fall back on, but still felt really scary. And I don't know what it will be, but that's also part of the thrill because
Yes.
uncertainty is both, right? Uncertainty is knee knocking angst because we don't know. And uncertainty is also thrilling. I don't know what it will be. Anything is possible in this space, right? It's a very creative space, uncertainty. That's
Pia,
where
so
creativity lives.
you quit your job, Pia, because you needed that, even though you had that cushion, because you needed that space to figure out what your next endeavor would be.
I quit my job because I knew that it was time for me to believe in myself and to see what would happen if I started to build my own business. I started building without having a fixed answer. It
Hmm.
wasn't to, I didn't do
How did
my,
you start doing that? How did you start building without an
well,
answer?
I had some coaching clients that were coming in. So I was like, okay, I'm doing this. Like the universe helps me out. It's like, what's coming my way? This is interesting and I love it. So let's keep doing this. And then I had some freelance work on the creative side that came my way. And so it's like, okay, so it felt very separate. Like I'm doing coaching over here, and then there's creative work over here. I don't know how these two things will intersect, if they'll even intersect. But I started to have fun just seeing what comes through and what comes up,
Mhm.
and what story could I tell about my business? Like, what are the things I'm really passionate about? What's my purpose? Like, I had developed my purpose statement and what felt
Mhm.
resonant. It was the first edit was, it wasn't quite there. It was like a catalyst for a change that helps build a better world, the catalyst for creativity and change that helps build a better world. And I was like, yeah, it's not quite there, but I'll go with that. Like that feels
Yeah.
right. And now it's like unleashing creativity to build a better world.
Yeah,
Okay, that's
love it.
because it's
Yeah.
simple and it's supposed to be abstract and grandiose. It's a purpose. It's like it's a big statement, and it's yours or mine. So it doesn't have
Yeah.
to make sense. It doesn't have to target a niche. That's not the point of it. It's just what really
Yes.
drives me as
Right.
a human on this planet, what really drives me. And I think unleashing creativity can happen in a multitude of ways, but it comes down to the person who's creating always. It's not only the what you want to create.
I love
It's
what
like
you said here
why
about
why you want to create it. Why is that important to you? Is it yours? Is that your story? And that's really where now after almost 4 years, the coaching and creativity is one. It's just creative partnership. But it took 3.5 years to get that clarity. And so I think you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. You have to be comfortable in uncertainty. And like, I don't know. And I still don't know what it will be because I'm a fluid, changeable being. So are you. Everybody is, right?
it.
And if I'm lucky, it's going to keep growing and changing. So but does feel much clearer now. But that kind of clarity, I think, is rare, at least from my experience, and also witnessing others, to get the minute you create a shift.
I love how you said this, that you don't have to target a niche, but what drives you? That's like the
Mm,
really incredible question, especially nowadays with social media. People are always like, and then um, so many other coaches that are like, well, you got to get, what's your niche? What's your niche? And it's like, well, hang on a minute. I guess you have to know what's going to drive you first. Like the niche isn't
absolutely.
the first on the list. It's like, what's that burning desire inside you that you need to get out?
Yeah, absolutely. And that burning desire will take you through the peaks and the valleys.
So what's
when
your
they're
burning desire?
my burning desire is to unleash creativity to build a better world. I'm like, that is, and for myself, like, that's the interesting part. Um, there came a point when writing my book came into my life, maybe two years being in my business, and I got the call to, hey, have you thought of writing a book? I was like, yeah, but I don't even know. Once again, I don't know what I'd write about exactly. It's like, well, will you accept the challenge? Will you commit
Mm-hmm.
to investing to writing a book even though you don't know? And I said, hell yeah. And I had another epiphany in that moment where it's like, hey, I don't only need to channel my creativity to build business. I can channel my creativity into just making art, making stuff,
Yeah.
right? And that was a big shift. That was when something changed. So what I'm discovering, purpose and what really burnt the burning desire, is not only what you do for others, is
Yeah.
doing that very same thing for yourself. And to me, that feels like integrity. So how
Yeah.
can I be standing on the platform of wanting to help unleash creativity in other people and in businesses and in whatever, if I'm not willing to do that for myself? And
Right.
that really felt like one of those like poof moments, like,
Right.
damn, of course. And that's what I'm currently creating the choreography for, of like, what does it look like to create with others and then to create for myself? Because I want to create the space for both. And it's a new choreography, but it's exciting.
Oh man, I love how you said that. So because that's true integrity, true integrity, I can't even talk, man. Oh my God, true integrity. What a tongue twister for me.
Yeah,
Doing it for yourself, not just for others, because then that's really authenticity as well. Because if somebody's in the business of helping others, but you're not helping yourself, where's the authenticity in that?
absolutely.
And you can't get
Absolutely.
creative unless you open up both channels. Because
Absolutely.
that's how flow is created. And that's what creativity, well, I'm gonna ask you, what is creativity?
Ooh, creativity for me is more than what you do.
Hmm.
It's a way of being in the world.
Yeah.
It's not only what you create, it's how you creatively respond to life. Because for me, what is the most creative act
Uh-huh.
is designing your experience of life.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything more creative. And we get to do that.
I
We
love
get
this.
to do that. It's easy to forget. It's easy to forget. Sometimes it's like you feel like an extra on set. You know what I mean? Like you're just an extra on set. Someone
Yeah.
else's scene. Someone else did the. What am I doing? You're eating the donuts, and it's like this is. I guess it's okay. I have free food, but you're not. You're not. You're the creative director. There's a black chair with your last name on it, and
Yeah.
you get to direct the scene. You get to act in it. You get to
Yeah.
produce it. You get to pick the soundtrack. You get to do the costume design. You get to do it all, but you need to remember that that is within your power. That is already yours, but you have to claim it because it's easy to forget
Hmm.
because there's power in it. And I think sometimes in the world, that could feel dangerous when we access our real creative agency for some. So maybe we're told to pipe down,
Right.
be the extra,
Hmm.
you know, because it can feel threatening.
Hmm.
And I say, imagine what the world would look like if we all assumed our creative director, producer, writer, author,
Hmm.
sound engineer role. And we created from that place of burning desire. And yeah, so that's I'm very passionate about that because I went through the process of forgetting my creative power. I went through the process of being an extra and said, "Oh, that yes," and taking a lot of sort of oftentimes dramatic life moments to shake me up. Say, "Hey, hello, hello,
Yeah.
you got the power to creatively direct this," and it took those moments of massive shaking, and then I'm like, "Oh yes, I can see it. All right, I got you. I'm gonna do it." And
I
I think
love
we
how
just need to be reminded.
Pia, I love how you're basically taking the word creativity. I mean, creativity is creation in action. So, but a
Mhm.
lot of people feel that creativity is an art form, or something, or I'm not a singer, or I'm not a painter, but creativity is being the creator, and life responds to the creator, and that's whatever you put out there, and that's your energy. That's creation in motion is creativity, and we're constantly creating. And a lot of people are unaware that they are, as you're saying, the director and the producer and the writer of their life. And that is where true creativity comes. And within all that creativity you create in your life, maybe somebody will become a painter or a pianist in between, because after that, that's when anything is really possible. It becomes possible
Absolutely.
because you open up the doors and the portal to infinity, to infiniteness, to finiteness, to divine energy, what our inherent responsive inner navigation tool was meant to do, is what we're meant to be.
Yeah, and from that limitless place, you can create anything. And it might look like an art form, and it might look like a new story that guides your behavior. It could be anything. And creativity, art is one expression of creativity, but it's not the only one.
No, it's not. It's
And
not
I
the only.
think that's what stops us from being creative is the thought that, well, I'm not a creative.
Mhm.
Mm,
I've
and
heard
it's
that many
changing.
times, and I've heard it many times.
Yeah, because I think it keeps us safe. Because if you're not a creative, then you don't have to take the risk to create the thing you really want to create, right? Because you're not a creative. So then you don't have to risk judgment, ridicule, rejection. It's a defense mechanism, and it's okay. I'm not judging it. I got that
Mm,
too. It's not
sure.
easy to be vulnerable and to share your work with the world or to share your burning desires with the world. But man, is it fulfilling. But you got to assume your creative agency. You got to say, I am a creative.
Hmm.
Then what?
Yeah, then what? Speaking of then what, on your website there was a scroll, and then in the scroll you talk about realigning. This is with your clients, correct? This is how you
Correct.
connect with your clients. Realign with your intuition, reimagine the future, realize the vision, and reconnect to your purpose. Does one come first? Do you reimagine the future, or is that the actual order, the way that you help your clients? Do you first realign with your intuition?
I I wish it was a simple four-step
Yeah,
process.
right, right.
It looks different for
Sure,
everyone.
because everybody's different.
Everyone's
Everybody's
different.
different, and
So
everyone's in
sometimes
different times of their parts of their life. Yeah.
exactly, but when we reimagine the future, it's getting creative and playful, right? Like if you could think of three possible futures that you'd love to inhabit in a year from now. And
Yeah.
three is important because if it's just one, people get intimidated. Like, oh, if I come up with this future, then it has to I have to make a plan. It needs to be actioned. And
Right.
to avoid that, right? Avoid that's not the point. The point is to
Mhm.
get curious about yourself and to see what desires you have. That's the point. It's not to make a hard and fast plan and strategy. No. Just
And
get
because,
curious. What are three different futures? What could they look like?
yeah,
What would they
right.
feel like? What do they smell like? What's the sense of it? What does a day in that life look like? What time do you wake up? Where are you? Who are you with? What are you eating? Like just getting curious. Like if you could, especially a day in the life is nice because there's a level of detail that really requires you to get curious about like not a Saturday or Sunday, but what would that beautiful juicy day in the future look like for me with detail from the morning I wake up to when I go to bed. And there are a lot of values that will be present in that
Oh yeah,
exercise.
right.
Purpose,
Oh yeah.
seeds of purpose will be present in that. You'll be able to see, oh, okay, so this is what's really important to you because what's not mentioned is also interesting too. What is not included in the day. So there's a
Hmm.
lot of self insight that comes from that imaginative, explorative process. Intuition also might come in. There might be a felt sense as you talk about it because it's like closing your eyes, feeling into your body, what comes up allowing yourself really to play. And of course, we need to co-create a safe environment, or at least we co-creating it, like an environment for courageous exploration together.
I
There's
love
no
how
judgment,
yeah, no judgment at all. Absolutely no, because
no
judgment blocks, and you don't want any
creativity.
blockages. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love this. So when somebody's reimagining the future, and to not be so like hard on it, like what's the word, OCD about it. It's not about being hard, to-do list type thing. It's actually to feel into your desires and what does that future look like for you, whether it's 1 or 2 or 3 years from now or three different types of futures, but either way, it's the future. And
Yeah.
then in doing that, you are creating you're basically dropping seeds into the soil, and you're able to see some of your purpose and your values when you start to reimagine your future. And in that, you start to tap into your intuition, which is the felt sense. And how does it feel within the body to be imagining your future? And what's interesting about this, as you said that, is that what I'm feeling from it is that if I become intuitive with my body on what that felt, that imagined sense felt like, whenever I come into alignment with that feeling in my body throughout the day, it's going to remind me of the future that I have reimagined for myself and bring me into that
Absolutely.
alignment and know that I'm on my way there or that I already am there.
Yeah, I already am there is
Mhm.
beautiful. I mean, because there's one thing that I also practice for myself is
Mhm.
holding both. I am
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
grateful for this life I got right here, right now. And I'm thrilled. I'm really excited also about what's coming.
Yeah. Right.
Holding both, otherwise we enter
Mhm.
like a scarcity, like we start moving into the
Mhm.
future and not really welcoming all of the everything we have in the present moment, which is so much. So it's
Mhm.
not that there's anything wrong with it. It's just we are creative, naturally creative fluid, changeable beings. And that's why this exercise is not a one and done. It's like you get curious, you do it every once in a while. Like, okay, what does it look like next? What does it look like next? And so then you can align your behavior with that intention. And then for me, it's also important to let it go. Okay, I
Mhm.
said it. This is interesting. This could be exciting. And then I let it go because you know what? The universe has a far more wild imagination than I do.
Oh yeah.
And I'm so here for it. I'm so here for it. Like, and I think that so all of those parts are important, those components of like, yeah, being so full of gratitude. That word has been so misused, but anyway, so full of like feeling appreciative of what's here and also what's
Mhm.
coming, and
Mhm.
then letting it go and allowing it to unfold because oftentimes
Mhm.
what emerges is not what we might have expected. That's where purpose is important because is it
Mhm.
aligned to what really matters to you and your values and purpose? Then you're good. Doesn't have to look exactly the way you might have thought it should.
I think what makes it difficult for people, including myself here, is the letting go and allowing it to unfold because
Mm.
people start to feel that, okay, it's been months or it's been years and it's not unfolding. But little do we know that it has been unfolding. And the more that we're able to let go more freely, the more things will become apparent to us that it's unfolding within in front of our very eyes. And we allow it to come to us a lot faster when we do that. Otherwise, we kind of hold it back when we start questioning it because
Definitely. Well,
that's
that's
doubt. Doubt holds everything back.
yeah, I also hear attachment to outcome. Like when we're like,
Yeah.
why is it not happening? Why
Hmm.
is what not happening? Oh, the outcome that you envision that looks
Right.
like a very
Yeah.
specific way, then
Mhm.
you miss out on all of the other
The other
opportunities
different.
that,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Exactly.
that are in process that are happening.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just important to kind of to ground into that
Mhm.
realization, like, okay, let it go. Like don't get attached and then get curious about what's here now. Like I went to see a tarot reader. She was really she's great. She left me with a line that shifted. That's why I think words matter.
Oh
She
yeah.
left me with a
Absolutely.
line that shifted something from me. She's like, just repeat, I, Pia Lichter, ask the universe to allow me to recognize opportunities to do what I love. And then I wrote, become deeply fulfilled, wildly successful, and filthy rich.
Right.
Because why not? It's my statement, I can do that. And what changed for me was recognize the opportunities.
Yes.
Oh, what does that mean? That means they're already here. I
Hmm.
just need to be able to recognize them.
Yeah. Right.
And ever since she said that, when I get in a feeling of scarcity or like just like, oh, what's not happening, or I'm like, oh, what are the opportunities I'm not recognizing? And
Yeah.
and when I do that, I can see. I'm like, oh shit, that's an up. I didn't. It was wearing a different outfit. I thought it would be wearing Tom Ford, but it was wearing Hermes. Like we don't know, but we have to like sit back and trust. Like I
Mhm.
trust. I trust. It's
Yeah.
here. It's all already
Already
here.
here.
Because the minute we attach to something outside of ourselves, we're on the hamster wheel of trying to get,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Always trying to get. And what we're really after is a feeling. I love that
Yes.
revelation. Like it's not the thing, whether it's a raise or this or that,
Yeah.
it's the
It's
feeling
the
it will give
feeling.
you.
Right.
And so but you get to create that feeling now. If you
Yes.
stop and become aware of what's the feeling that you're after.
Yeah.
And what's
Yeah.
important about that thing that you're hanging on tightly that you feel is like, come on, why isn't it happening? Imagine if while you're twiddling like you're, twiddling your thumbs,
Hmm.
something else is happening that you might just miss. Damn it, you know what I mean?
I love
So
that. So that when the tarot card said to you, I, Pia, or
yeah,
I, whoever, fill in the blank, ask the
Arlino.
universe to, yeah, I, Lino, ask the universe to allow me to recognize the opportunities
Yeah.
present.
Opportunities to do what I love. Yeah, here,
Hmm.
opportunities to do what I love. And then I added my own bit at the end
Hmm.
because that bit at the end was also trying to re-script my relationship with money.
Hmm.
That I can do what I love and become filthy, stinking rich.
Hmm.
And by becoming filthy, stinking rich, I can make a bigger impact in the world. I can be more generous. I can do a lot of more things. It doesn't mean that I'm going to buy and what is still filthy, stinking rich? I haven't even defined that for
Sure,
myself. So let's
sure,
see what
sure.
shape it comes into. But it was more like a way of healing something within me that I can be wildly successful and fulfilled and also have money. Those
Hmm.
two things are not
Yeah,
opposite, which is
yeah,
part of where we started in the story about my dad, right?
right.
Like, oh, well, if you do what you love, then there's a price to pay. So that's a part of
Mhm.
me rewriting. That's a part of me stepping into my creative director chair. And people will say, well, some people might say that's just a belief. Yeah, well, your beliefs shape your reality.
Yeah.
You could try it if you don't believe me. Like if you go out for a day and you believe people are inherently good, like really believe it, and you treat people that way, watch what happens.
It's interesting when people say that's just your belief, is that what people are not fully aware of is that everything that comes out of their mouth is based on their belief. So,
Absolutely.
and the beliefs are what's creating your thoughts and your actions, and that's what's creating patterns, and that's what's creating what you're receiving, what you're letting go of. So, I mean, if someone says to you or to anyone, that's just your belief, say yes, it is, and you can change your beliefs simply by
Exactly.
changing your thoughts. It's a momentum.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's such a creative act. But we
Hmm.
have to become aware first. Can't change what we're not aware of. So I need to become aware of the scripts that I've been running. Is it my story? Is it a societal story? Is it my inherited story? Is it working for me? Is it serving me? And then if it's not, what's the new script I want to write? So that I can become, deeply fulfilled and recognize opportunities and become filthy, stinking rich. That sounds like a really good belief. I'm gonna go for that. Okay, great. Now, what behaviors create evidence that I actually believe that?
Hmm.
Because I could say I'm a rich girl 100 times, but if I don't buy the bag of granola I love because it's $10, there's cognitive dissonance,
Oh, there
right?
sure is.
And
Yeah.
it's gonna create mixed signals, and that's not gonna work. So it's belief is one thing, and then there's behavior that creates evidence that yeah, I actually believe that, and that's really important. So it's a practice for me. Like yeah, being generous, that's good practice for abundance. Like I believe I'm always gonna receive what I need. Cool. So how do I act that? What does that play out in my behavior? And
Yeah.
it's an ongoing. It's not a destination. I'm never going to get there.
No.
I'm just going to play and I'm going to practice and hopefully have a little levity in it too, because this doesn't have to be so serious.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely love that. I'm writing all this down. I just love this energy. Create that feeling now, and that's basically what we are chasing. People feel that when they're creating something or their future, that moment or those things is what's going to bring them that feeling. But that feeling already exists within you, and you can create that feeling now. And once you create that feeling, you're going to naturally attract all those objects and things and money and or even if you or even a humble attitude or whatever it is that you want to attract, you're going to get what you want when you start believing that you can behave that way now.
Yeah. And I've sat with clients who've gone through like a day in the life and all these, different exercises or conversations. And then I'll go, so how does it feel in your body? Freedom. oh, it feels like my chest, my shoulders are back, and I can feel, and they'll describe. So, what is just asking like all the sensory experiences around that feeling. And I go, well, there you go. You have it.
Yeah.
You're done. You already got it. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then people go, oh my God, I do. Like, because you feel it now. So you could create that feeling now.
Hmm.
I
And so
mean, you can
realize,
also attract more of it, but you can also just create the feeling now. You can get into it.
yeah,
Sorry for
get in the
interrupting.
feeling, do whatever it takes to create that feeling and stay there as long as you can.
Hmm.
And also appreciate the ebb and flows in life because the ebb and flow is what's gonna make you realize that you're not flowing the way you prefer to flow.
Well, yeah, or we're constantly changing
Yeah.
and growing and expanding like the universe.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's the journey. It's
That is
like,
the journey, expansion.
yeah, exactly. So then at one point we'll be like, oh, cool, did that work? That was nice. Now I'm ready for the next expansion. And expansion can feel really uncomfortable, but very fulfilling. And that's why
That's
for
why we never
me,
get it all done because we're constantly expanding and there's always
no, we'll
something else
never.
to do.
But to me, that's liberating.
That
The
is
reminder
liberating.
that it's not about getting it all done or when we figure it out or when I get there or those are just ideas.
Those are incredible. And so realizing the future, what do you mean by that? How does somebody realize, I'm sorry, realize the vision? How does somebody realize their vision? How do
You
you
take action.
taking action?
Yeah, taking action. So it's like,
Mm.
what is the biggest needle moving action that you could
Mm.
take towards that vision of the future
Mm-hmm.
today, this
Yeah.
week, now? Like,
Yeah.
what is it? Because that is an act of courage and it's an act of faith and it's an act of belief. And it also is an experiment. It allows you to see, like, is
Mm.
this really what I want to do? Let's see. I mean, we don't know
Mm.
until you try. And then so I like to like call them running experiments because it feels more playful and fun. And you get to
Mm.
assess, like, oh, how did that feel for me? Did it feel good? And then maybe
Yeah.
your vision, shifts a little bit, or it's similar, but it's not expressed in that way. It's in another way. So we need to put it into action.
Yeah, it seems that that's where a lot of people, at least what I'm feeling, could get a little stuck. Like, hang on a minute, well, that's where it gets risky. How far and how high do I jump? And can I take baby steps or do I just go all for it now? And also trusting that leap, you know.
Well, I believe that because we're naturally creative and evolving and expanding beings, right? That hanging on to spaces that we've outgrown feels stuck. It doesn't we
Mhm.
know in our bones that it's time to move on, but it can feel
Yeah.
really scary. And I know
Yeah.
this because I was in that place, right?
Oh, yeah.
And we need different either partners, life events, something that kind of helps us see that the scariest option is remaining in a place you're no longer supposed to be in. That's no longer for you,
Yeah. What's
not
hard
the
for a lot of
option.
people is getting out of that space, knowing that things aren't working for them, that they're stuck, or whether it's trauma or abuse, and or just at a job they don't like,
Mhm.
whatever, from one extreme to another. And it's like it's almost as if some people really need that aha moment to just take that leap, be like, hang on a minute, oh, well, no wonder nothing's been working out here. Or you moving to another city. Maybe it's just the city's energy. Maybe I just need to get out of here. No wonder I feel
Yeah,
more creative when I'm by the beach versus, city life. So just really feeling into where your freedom lies inside.
absolutely. And understanding that this is a natural part of your own creative process. We will all have extinction moments where we have to
Yeah.
let something go.
Yeah.
It's no longer for us, or even a part of us that we have to let go.
Right.
That's getting extinct. And then there's kind of this void space in
Hmm.
between, this uncertainty before the creative evolution or the rebirth happens, right?
Yeah.
But we got to be able to stay in that in order for the rebirth, in order for the next creative evolution. So I think being seen and having partnership through that creative process at pivotal moments in time, because it usually happens at sticky junctures, right?
Yeah.
Is incredibly helpful. It was helpful for me to know that you're not alone, to know that it's a natural part of the process, to know that fear gets really loud when you're on the precipice. when you're about to do something, oh man, it's also the death rattle, you know,
Mm-hmm.
death rattle gets loud
Mm-hmm.
and it's a natural part of growth.
Mm-hmm.
It's natural. It's universal.
It's interesting that's when that's when there's a cataclysmic event in your
Mm.
life, right when you're at that pivotal moment of being super duper scared, when you have that fear. And that's when change is about to occur, because there's about
Yes.
to be a movement and a change
Yes.
of a pattern that was stuck. Just like anything,
Yes.
there's always needs to be a shake before there's a new movement.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's really beautiful, actually. I mean, that happens everywhere. Nature happens with the ocean, with volcanic activity, with lightning. I mean, whatever the planet shows us is also within us. And that's what the planet does in order for it to survive and to get to the next season, or to get to the next um, process of evolution for the planet. We're kind of doing the same thing within ourselves.
Yeah. And especially when we surrender and release into it instead of fighting it or resisting it, then we get into that flow. And then maybe we discover we have a little less fear, a
Yeah.
little less fear, because we show ourselves that we can do those hard things. I can
Yeah.
tell you that from the time that I jumped, that was the scariest. Jumping to start my own business, I was like,
Oh, yeah.
where's money going to come from? What is it going to be? I don't know.
Right.
We're like mind active,
Oh, yeah,
fear active, fear
yeah.
on red alert. And then for me, entrepreneurship is a meta lesson or gym of learning how to redefine my relationship with life
Hmm.
and to move with trust and not fear.
Hmm.
Because in entrepreneurship, at least for me, especially, it's like uncertainty is right in your face. Like you
Hmm.
really, life is always uncertain, but we create scaffolding and the illusion of certainty through whether it's a salary job or the different routines and structures, which is needed. We don't always have to feel like,
Right.
right? I'm not saying that's a bad thing. However, when we're confronted with the truth that life is uncertain, we get a chance to choose how we want to be with it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And I want to move with trust because that's freedom. And freedom is a core value of mine. I would venture to say it's a core value of most human beings. But
It really is
uh,
freedom.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So trusting is freedom.
yes,
Hmm.
fear is prison.
Hmm.
Fear keeps you locked in. But the good news is if you're in fear's prison, you're the one holding the key. You're the one who put you in there. If you're the one who put yourself in the cell, you're the one who can get yourself out.
That
That's
could
the
be
good
tough for a
news.
lot of people to bite, to know that they got themselves into where they're at. A lot of, yeah, a big pill to swallow there for a lot
Yeah,
of people. But also a clear realization, because then after that you hold the keys. Yeah.
exactly. That will liberate you. Taking that agency and that responsibility, like, okay, I mean, not to say, look, we're all born into different things and there are challenges. So I'm not saying that doesn't exist, but sometimes we get stuck in prisons of our own making. We continue patterns that we can break. And I'm not
Absolutely.
saying it's easy. It ain't easy, but it sure is worthwhile.
And so the last thing that was on your scroll on your website here, reconnect to your purpose. How does all this help somebody reconnect to their purpose? Or how does someone even know what their purpose is? By realigning their future, by reimagining, um, or realizing their vision, and by tuning into their intuition. All of this helps them realize their purpose.
I think so, but there are different ways into it. I mean, there are different philosophies. For some people, really identifying purpose, your own purpose, writing a statement, that can change, right? Like there are different flavors of your purpose
Mhm.
as you grow and
Sure.
evolve.
Yeah, and
Is really
different
helpful.
purposes in life.
Yeah, exactly. It really helps. It's very helpful for a lot of us. So it's a really worthwhile process to go through,
Mhm.
and it's part of a creative coaching process. The part of intuitive hits and asking powerful questions and really listening to the person and human in front of me and really that person listening to themselves and
Mhm.
getting curious about what's really calling them, looking back at their lives and seeing patterns. Because I believe that whether you've
Mhm.
articulated it or not, you're living your purpose. You might not just be aware of what that purpose is, but it's there somewhere in the red threads. Are you living it to full volume? That I don't know, but it's there. And I've heard a quote that I really love. Purpose is what you're doing when you're being who you are.
Yes.
So actually, it's not necessarily about like my purpose is to change the world
Mhm.
through metaphysics, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that. But maybe it's just getting closer to who you are, like who you
Yeah.
really are, what fuels you, what moves you, what blocks you, what inspires you, what thrills you, what scares you,
Mhm.
your unique signature. Because there's only one Dr. Lino in this
Mhm.
whole world.
Right.
And,
Yeah, we all
and
have
so
our
when
own
you,
energetic
right?
signature. Yeah.
Exactly. So when you connect to your own energetic signature, everything that comes from you is going to be creative because creativity is the definition is it's unique. It's not repeatable.
Yeah.
It's not something that you see. It's your unique expression and your purpose will lie in that. What you're drawn to, there are clues for purpose in that. In the whole future life exercise, there'll be definite clues for your purpose in that. The seeds are there. But really, if you wanted to make it simple, it's about connecting to yourself, meeting yourself daily, getting curious about you, creating space to do that for yourself. And I believe that if it's purpose you're after, you'll get the messages. You'll see it.
And that's magnetic.
Definitely. That's what will draw people in. People are attracted to that unique, authentic expression, that vulnerability. Because it takes vulnerability also to show up as you in this world.
It really does.
It really does. And sometimes I feel like I'm just shedding like layers, like some kind of, once again, I imagine myself in like some Hollywood film where I'm just like removing a robe, removing something else, removing something else, because we have all these layers that have been gifted to us throughout life. Like who are we really? Those are big questions, but like who are we? Like what is this? And then being able to show up in that form and then
Mhm.
saying, "Oh, I still have my little shirt on." Like, and doing it in a way that's of service to yourself and other people. So it's not just getting naked for shock value or for the sake of
Yeah.
it. It's because you have something really unique to offer and give the world, and the world needs your medicine, and it's the medicine only you can provide. So getting closer to that is a gift for all of us, for yourself.
Hmm.
But again, it can feel very at least felt uncomfortable for me. Stuff I shared in that book, it was very vulnerable and felt like an unveiling. Things
Hmm.
I haven't, my husband didn't even know when he read the book. He's like, I didn't know that. I'm like, oh, here we go. So, but it was in service of the story, in service of the reader. It was there intentionally. Like it wasn't everything. Um, and that was my first unveiling. And I feel like as I keep stepping more into the arena, into that space, and even though it feels sometimes frightening, it also feels really fulfilling.
Yes, I can see this. I love this. So, I would love to talk about your book and how we can find your book and the vulnerability aspect of it because being vulnerable is what opens up creativity.
Absolutely. And vulnerability creates connection.
Yeah. How does that?
That's
How does
how,
it create? How does it create connection?
well, if we think about it, if you don't show up fully, if you keep parts of you hidden
Yeah.
out of fear of whatever, I won't venture into why, but how can people really connect to you? How can people love you for who you are fully if you're only giving them a sliver
Hmm.
and there are other parts that might be a bit more fabricated or it might be
Right.
more about presenting than presence?
Yeah.
Um, then how can you expect people to connect because you're not fully present? You're just
Hmm.
showing up, you're just showing a sliver. And again, there's no judgment. It's a way of protecting yourself. When I get 2-star reviews, it stings. If I wrote a fiction book about, my this character and someone said something, it would be no problem. It's okay. Like there are reasons, but that's part of that's part of the entry fee
It
into
is.
the arena. There are gonna be people who have something to say about who you are and what you do and what you're creating. And for me, I had to build my capacity to be in that space and also regulate my nervous system.
Yeah.
Reconnecting to why I'm doing it helps. Like we have different tools that we can use that ground us and that allow us to show up more fully. Now, more fully, it could be 50% when more than 10%. And so for me, that's just the logical conclusion is when you show up who you are, you give people a chance to really see you. And when people can really see you, they connect to you because you feel that energetically. You feel when someone's showing up authentically. You just
Oh
feel
yeah.
it. You feel when someone is like, hello and
Yeah.
welcome. And I am doing this show
Yeah.
and this is and look at me, and it's about showing and proving instead of giving and receiving,
Right.
it's a different energy. And I don't know, like I want to sit next to the vulnerable, messy, raw human at a dinner party who doesn't
Yeah.
know, who hasn't figured it out, who's stumbling
Right.
around. I'd much rather have a conversation with that person, and because I can connect to that. Because guess what? I'm messy. I'm imperfect. I'm raw. I'm still figuring it out. I don't know. Um,
I
and
think it's
that's an
really
exciting
important.
place to
I mean,
be.
thanks for sharing that for our listeners to really feel that being vulnerable, it creates connection because that also shows how much more alike we are. And
Totally.
people are then open up their hearts. Even the way we started our before we started recording this, I've revealed to you that my brother had passed away and immediately had told me about your mother. And that vulnerability, that grief that's inside me, I got it out and then you shared your grief and that connected us. So
Totally.
without that vulnerability, perhaps there wouldn't have been that spark right from the start. But it's starting with vulnerability that actually makes your light come out.
I love what you're saying right there because it's our vulnerability is our shared experience on this
Yeah.
planet, on this weird
Right.
spinning rock.
Yeah.
We have so much more in common than we have differences. We really do.
Yeah.
Coaching showed me that. Coaching a lot of hundreds of hours of coaching. It's like, wow, how beautiful. We are so much more alike.
Yeah.
When you remove the layers and you
Right.
get down to it, we have so many similar fears, similar things that stop us, similar things that excite us. We just have so much more in common, but we got to remove those things, those ways of hiding that when
Yeah.
it feels right, when it feels right,
When it feels right. Oh
when
yeah.
it feels right.
Well, this has been incredible. I feel like I could keep talking talking about
Me
this
too.
forever. This is the stuff that pumps me up as well. So how can our viewers or watchers and our listeners find you and get a hold of your book? And the title of your book is Creativity, Letting Go of What Needs to Be. Correct?
No, it's welcome to the Creative Club.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here it is. Your book is called Welcome to the Creative Club. Make life your biggest art project. And it's on Amazon Kindle and Amazon paperback and soon to be
And
on audiobook, correct?
yes, and it's on bookshop.org for those folks too.
Bookshop.org. Oh, I
Yeah.
love this title. Welcome to the Creative Club. Make life your biggest art project. That's amazing.
And it's a lot about what we spoke today. There's
Yeah.
purpose, there's values, there's losing and finding your creative power, there's how you sit in your own creative director's chair, what creativity is, what it isn't. It's not reserved for the chosen few, beret wearing few, we're
Right.
all members of the creative club. We just need to pull out our card and swipe.
Hang on, before we conclude this, you just said what creativity is and isn't. What isn't it?
Creativity isn't a gift that's doled out to the very few geniuses in the world, right? I mean, we come to view creativity as like capital C creatives, and it's yes, sure, that's a part of it, but creativity is so much more than that. I
Yeah.
mean, for me, we're a creative. Creativity is our way of creating novel, useful, original solutions to everyday challenges that can also be very, very creative. That's entirely creative. Your own expression and way of moving in the world, the way that you pull out a recipe and make it from scratch, the way that you handle your name being misspelled on a coffee cup, the way you strut down a grocery aisle, the way you express yourself, the way you compose an email. When you're very connected to your unique essence, to you, that is going to, all of those things would be creative acts. Creativity, I remember I was doing research. I love this. I state this fact because it just reminded me. I was reading an academic journal, and like creativity, of course, is also science. Science is immensely creative, and crime. I'm like, yeah,
Oh
true.
my goodness.
Never thought about that. Crime is really creative. That's a true.
Right?
It's
It
just
is, yeah.
it's so creative. So just expanding the notion of what it is, why to recognize that it's who we are. If you are a human being, you're an artist at play. You're a natural born creative. You could look, I show neuroscience. There's neuroscience that speaks to this, the way our brains are wired, right? With the default mode network and the control mode network, we all have this capacity, how we survived as a species. Okay,
Yeah.
down to creativity from fire onwards. Okay, like it's a part, it's a natural part of who we are, and that is important to debunk those myths, because as I said before, what stops us from being creative is the belief that we're not creative, is the
Yeah.
belief that we're an extra. So I wanted to smash that in order to invite people into the creative director's chair. That's already theirs. It's already theirs. You just need to sit in it.
Oh man, I love this. Absolutely love it. And I'm definitely sitting in it here with you. And I'm really just feeling blessed with your energy. So speaking of creativity, I created a poem. I felt into your energy last night and I wrote this. And so this is dedicated to our episode and it's dedicated to you.
Thank you so much.
I've lost it before and found the very magic of lost and found in the midst of solitude. Within this sort of amplitude, I rose up between the downfalls and caught myself before a tumble, reinforced what it meant to feel stuck, and realigned my energy to give back the power that has always existed within me, all when I thought I was lost. And in this newfound glory, I open your door to show you more.
Woo! Oh, love it. That gave me chills. That's how my
Oh
intuition speaks to
man,
me. It gave
thank you
me
so
chills.
much.
It's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing.
And also, for the viewers and watchers and listeners here, Pia is also a poet herself, and she shares some in her book. And so I'm just really fascinated, and also just I'm just full of gushiness, happiness inside right now to have connected with you. Thank you so much for sharing your love, your light. Looking forward to staying connected with you.
Same. And the gushiness feeling is reciprocated. I feel so grateful to have had this chance to connect energetically, to feel your energy, your smile, your radiance, and keep doing what you're doing in the world. We need it. Don't stop. The
I will. You
286
too.
coming
Don't
up.
stop, won't stop, won't stop the beat. Don't
Yeah,
stop, don't stop, won't
exactly.
stop the beat. Yeah.
Oh, hey,
Yeah. Oh, I love it, everyone. Pia Leichter here on a Little Less Fear podcast. So nice to meet you. Looking forward to staying connected.
Likewise, Dr. Lino. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in to a Little Less Fear podcast. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. Tell your friends and your family about a Little Less Fear podcast. And if you are interested in being on my show, feel free to leave me an email at a little less fear at gmail.com. Or if you have any questions or comments and you also want to leave me an additional message, you can also do so from my website, leaving an inquiry at www.alittlelessfear.com. You can get a copy of my book on Amazon, Amazon Kindle, and Amazon Kindle Unlimited, also titled A Little Less Fear. And thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate all the support. Leave me a review if you get a chance. I love to receive feedback, questions, and comments. And any way that I can be of support to you, please let me know. Thank you so much. I love you. Wishing you love, light, happiness, and many blessings your way.